yeah, 1 out of 100 places in the country where we are prioritizing to make things better for bicycling and walking. And this is something that we know there's a lot of interest down here. There's more and more people are actually bicycling, and we want to help make it as safe as possible and get more people out there enjoying the great weather that you have.
That's what I was going to ask. Why here? But it sounds like...
And southern Florida has, you know, it's a destination for a lot of places in the country. And people, if we can make bicycling successful here, it's going to have broad-reaching impact. Well, first of all, people are wonderful. I mean, there's so many people working on this issue and trying to make things better, and such enthusiasm, because this is what people want, right? You come down here, you just want to get out of your car and you want to walk or bike. So that's great. The infrastructure still needs some improving in order to make people feel more comfortable walking and bicycling. I mean, you look at roads like this. This is a great trail that we're on, but a lot of places, you know, if you're trying to get somewhere, you would say, there's no way I can do this on a bicycle. So what's happening around the country? Our cities are figuring out how to make the roadways themselves work better for bicycling. Sometimes there isn't room for paths, or sometimes the paths really, there's so many people walking on the paths that cyclists might be better off on the road. So we look at the roadway system because that's in place, and that's usually the lowest cost way of making improvements, quickly anyway. Sometimes it's just a matter of narrowing lanes to allow for as wide of a bike lane as possible. Sometimes it means taking out a lane and doing a more elaborate, even you could do a protected or a buffered bike lane. And sometimes, you know, really you say, well, let's try to make an off-street system work here because the roadway is going to be really too challenging. So we look at all kinds of different possibilities when we come into an area, and we provide advice. And it's really a collaborative approach that we're working with traffic engineers, advocates, with policymakers. And what we find is when we bring everybody together, and we don't just bring them together, we actually bring them together on bicycles and have them experience their own city on two wheels. And then we talk about, okay, how do we make this better? You know, we have to follow standards. But when they get on a bicycle, they realize, okay, maybe the engineering has been favoring one mode over another. And ultimately you get what you design for, right? So if you're only designing with the motorist in mind, you're going to get motorists. And you're going to get more and more motorists, right? And pretty soon people feel like they don't really have any options. So what we try to do is let people realize that these are political decisions. And it's not so much, you know, well, we don't have space for bike lanes. It's who do we want to prioritize, you know, in this city. And people, if you ask them why they come here, it's like, well, I came here because I like to ride a bike, I like the weather, I want to get out and see things, and you can best do that, you know, walking or bicycling. In Sanibel, long ago, because of 4 women decided, hey, we need a way for our kids to get to school safely. So from a very, you know, from a long, I'm not sure how many years ago, but they started every single roadway, they put an off-street facility in. Since that time, it's just people go there and they want to bike, right? I was in Cape Coral just this morning, and they have an amazing number of signed bike routes. And a lot of them are on roads and bike lanes, and some are, you know, lesser traveled roads. But they've signed them all so people know, okay, here's how I can get around on a bicycle. And mostly it's recreational, but more and more can be for transportation purposes too. So what we're finding is it takes not just the infrastructure, but like in Sanibel, there's huge issues on whether or not, you know, the cyclists are behaving properly, etc., and coexistence on the roadways. There's some animosity there because people driving think that bicycles should be on those trails, even if the trails are only 5 feet wide. and people are trying to share the trails with, you know, the person pushing the baby stroller. So there's some issues. So we know you also have to have education. You have to have a good, I guess, creating the culture that embraces everybody, and understanding that ultimately we're talking about public space that nobody owns. I mean, we all own this space, and it's a public right-of-way, and that we need to figure out how do we make it work for everybody. And so there's the infrastructure, there's education that we look at. We look at the encouragement that's going on. We look at enforcement. Are the are cyclists being ticketed for violations? Are the motorists being ticketed if they're infracting upon the rights of bicyclists? And then also, is there evaluation going on? So we look for a comprehensive approach, and then if there's a comprehensive approach in the community, they can become designated as a bicycle-friendly community.
Now, who pays for you to come down and kind of do this study?
Well, Trek actually is a sponsor of my particular work. I work for the League of American Bicyclists, which is a national nonprofit, the largest bike organization in the country. And Trek, for a long time, we've been doing the Bicycle Friendly America program, and people send in applications. We review them and provide awards. But last year was the first time that they could hire someone like myself to actually go around and help communities.
So Lee County didn't go though?
No, this is a free service, and it's because of Trek's support.
Everybody kind of wants to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is Lee County in bike friendly and safety right now, in your expert opinion?
Well, overall Lee County, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably around a 3. But it's a challenging situation because you have a lot of people who want to be down here, and they're maybe driving too fast. So one of my recommendations today is whatever you can do to lower speeds, make these streets more calm. You've got a lot of busy roads, but people are driving 50 miles an hour on the very busy roads. And other places would say, no, this should be more like a 30 mile per hour, 35 mile per hour. When speeds increase, crashes increase, and the severity of the crash increases exponentially. So it's a big deal.
How long do you think it'll take us to get to maybe a better ranking? What's a good ranking for you, and how long do you think it'll take for us to get there?
Well, I mean, certain areas you're already, you're well above the 3. I'm just saying, overall in Lee County, it's still, there are wonderful places to bike. So don't think that I'm discouraging people from bicycling, because you've got some of the best places to bike in the world. But if you're trying to meet your needs for transportation and just wanting to get somewhere and not have to go 5 miles out of your way, you have a long ways to go. It's going to take people like the people that I've been meeting, coming together and saying, this is a priority. This is what we want. We want people to have choices. We don't want to have people feel like they have to use a car to meet their needs, to go shopping, to go to the restaurant, to meet friends, to go to work. And that's when you really know, when you can just get up in the morning and say, oh yeah, I can do this, and I can do this on a bicycle without having to, second guess. That's when you know that you're up there among the best bicycling communities.